In the midst of the 2020 plantpocalypse, importing plants made lots of sense. There was plenty of money to be saved and even money to be made on an import. The massive price difference between the US and the tropics made for potential hundreds of dollars of savings per plant. A trend of import and flip sellers became the norm on Facebook. But with all plant prices coming down in the last few years, is importing a plant still worth it? I want to recognize my potential innate bias here, but I'm genuinely trying to look at these options as impartially as possible through the lens of a potential buyer. So today, we'll look at hypothetically buying a single Monstera deliciosa albo, arguably the most popular variegated aroid, from domestic sellers and then compare that to the price of exporters. Though the deliciosa is originally native to Mexico, the variegated version is heavily cultivated in multiple parts of Asia. When importing, you'll typically be buying from Indonesia, Thailand, Korea, or Japan. Europe tends to have similar prices to the Americas for the albo. To make it a fair comparison, we're going to look for a 3 to 4 leafed, established, heavily marbled Monstera albo. Honestly, it's the best albo you can buy because of the stability of variegation. Think flecking variegation of the Thai constellation. We want those candy cane stems with stripes running through, green, white, and so on. These plants are also usually more safe to chop and prop because of the probability of an auxiliary bud landing on the striped part of the stem. So let's start where most shopping journeys begin, on Google. Almost all of these photos have the looks that we're after. Naturally, we're going to gravitate towards the cheaper options. This brings us to Etsy with the exact type of albo that we're after, a massive, heavily marbled plant. The 3-leaf option comes to $225, but let's check out the shop. It has very few sales with a 4-star average, and it looks to be an exporter. I asked them for pictures, but they never message back. The review photos look a bit rough, but generally good stars. Back on Google, we find another cheap option for a large plant. $300 here for a Monstera adansonii Monstera albo borsigiana. They got all the keywords in there. They've even got a Thai constellation as the photo on the lowest down option. We can't see the exact plant we'll get, and there's no reviews or an about section on the website. Not having these options on a site always makes me nervous. And down here, we finally find their address in China. So we'll add them to the board too here at $300. Next, we come across a shop called Exotic Plants, which sells the albo for $230, and they look like what we're after. A quick scroll down shows that they're exporters from Thailand. And finally, we have Thai Exotic Greenery, who seems legit. But the plant sold is grower's choice in a 3 to 6 inch pot, which is a really large range. I always like seeing the exact plant I'm buying because it's all about stem coloring and variegation. With shipping, it comes out to $235. A quick search on eBay promises 5 pink Monstera albo cuttings for $15 with free shipping. This reminds me of that one time I bought pink princess seeds from the Middle East in 2018, and of course they were fake. The photoshopping here is ridiculous. Please do not buy this. So we have a typical range for imported marbled albos, about $200 to $300 shipped. Let's use the lowest mark of $235 for a transaction we likely won't get scammed for, I think. Because they say if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, right? Well, what about 10 albos for $700? Now, this is where I f***ed up. 2 months ago, I almost got scammed for $700. A seller with a seemingly large Instagram following reached out to me to offer this deal of a lifetime, $70 per albo. An incredibly low price, but I figured prices had come down a lot recently. Also, lots of big accounts I knew followed them, so I figured they were legit. But their like counts were super low. Not that this is always a tip-off, but I should have noticed something was off with only a few likes with 19,000 followers. He showed me great videos of the plants to be sent, and he said he took PayPal, so I thought I couldn't really get scammed here. I didn't have a lot to lose. Luckily, I only offered him $350 of the $700 up front, but I unfortunately sent him the money. A week later, he had all the excuses that there were delays with the phytosanitary, and he kept asking for more time to ship the plants. You guessed it, he never sent me the plants. So I asked for my money back, but he wouldn't send it back. So I had to file a claim with PayPal to get the money back. Today, his Instagram page has been removed. This is usually not what happens with imports, but it's definitely one of the risks. Most of the importers we've used over the years have been good, but sometimes plants arrive with rot like this aroid did. But this can definitely also happen with domestic sellers. Remember these tips when you're importing. Always pay with PayPal. Try and use a platform if you can, like Etsy or eBay. Don't go through WhatsApp like I did. Remember that you do need an import permit if you're doing 12 or more plants into the US. Also, do not import on a federal holiday. Most imports from Asia clear through Miami customs using DHL or Dragon Courier. And I've had packages get stuck there in the heat wave for over a week, like this philodendron giganteum from 2021. As a running joke in our shop, this batch of philodendron was fondly referred to as the salad by Monica and Krista. About half of them survived the heat stress. Now, let's take a look at what you can get domestically. Here's a really pretty Monstera, but that's not an Albo, and it is $350. So we'll kindly pass on that one, George and Leon. Here's actually a really pretty one that sold tonight, shipping out of Nashville. This was a good deal. It went for $325 with shipping, and has exactly the color we're after with good roots and that candy cane stripe stem. Other 3-leafers go for around the $300 mark on eBay. One of my favorite ways to check the market is to go on eBay and click show only sold items and then sort by the highest price. This is the way we can see what actually sold and at what price. Again, here's more in the $300 to $315 mark. This is a gorgeous plant for $336 with free shipping. It looks to be large form with high variegation and inner fenestrations. Check out the stem too, it's got the striping we want. It shipped from Florida and had 5 leaves. This was a good deal, but it's not as good as this next one. On Facebook, this plant went for $200-ish with shipping, 6 leaves. And it looks to be small form, but it has great variegation. And it has exactly the stem coloring we want. But keep in mind, this seller makes it very clear that they will not cover the shipper's damages. So if it gets damaged in the mail, it's not on them. And this is something most online plant shops actually do cover. And as we saw from the Facebook scam video, make sure you vet your sellers on Facebook. Also, this plant did sell in February of this year, which is one of the cheapest months to buy plants, so keep that in mind. We follow about $100 a leaf for premium variegation when pricing, so let's get these on the board for the domestic side. We'll settle around $300 for a high variegation, 3-leafed, rooted, established Albo in the US. This is about a $70 price difference between importing and buying online in the USA. If you're trying to buy large quantities of plants or super rare varieties, the trip and risk of importing might actually be worth the savings. Though there's many liquidations of plants occurring in the USA because of growers exiting the rare plant industry. For instance, last year I drove up to Northern California to purchase a grow room full of Monstera Albos because the grower was exiting the rare plant growing industry. Prices of rare aroids have dropped precipitously. Whatever you do, just make sure you're buying from a reputable seller, as risks always exist when buying plants online. Please do consider subscribing and clicking the like button on the video. These videos are becoming lengthy to edit, so I do appreciate the support. I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for watching.